I put up a video yesterday that I really need you to watch. Okay, I linked it below. And it's about Maria's experience with medical experts. And I can just tell you that it angered me and it broke my heart because of all the suffering that Maria lived. So people find carnivore and keto because of weight loss, but they don't understand that the weight loss happens because our health improves. And not understanding that allows people to just keep cheating on their diet, right? So this healthy keto carnivore thing we're doing, they keep cheating, and it allows them to add supplements and other processed substances that slow or even block their health progress, so their weight loss progress. Our healthcare system is broken, Mom's Warrior. And because it's broken, I'm seeing something that really confuses me. We're being prescribed medications, more medications than ever before. And those medications are causing us to live worse health rather than better. I want to talk about why I think this is happening, but more importantly, I want to give you some very actionable steps to protect yourself from being pulled into our sick care system. And before I'm going to be able to do that, I'm going to need to talk to you about the idea of expertise. According to Malcolm Gladwell, it takes 10,000 plus hours, well, about of 10,000 hours of deliberate practice to become an expert. So you're talking about someone who's gathering information, practicing that information and those techniques and all the things, and dedicating basically every work day to becoming an expert in their field. If we talk about, for example, how long it takes to become a nutritionist, that's 3.5 years of study at school. It's not necessarily 40 hours a week. To become a physiotherapist can be anywhere from 4 to 7 years. Not necessarily 40 hours a week, right? And depending on what province you live in, it's more or less. And to become a doctor, 12 years. Now they get worked harder, but during their education period of time, so during the school part, it's not necessarily that they're being educated for 40 hours, but they have to study a bunch. So I'm gonna guess that doctors probably do that 40 hours. Okay. Here's the thing. In order to actually accomplish 10,000 hours, that's about 5 years of 40-hour work weeks. If we say that you do, 2 weeks off to just have a break for your brain. 5 years. So that automatically lets you know that the nutritionist and the physiotherapist probably have more work to do just to even say that I'm an expert, right? I think what's really tough here is that we assume that experts have all the information, they have complete knowledge in their field. And when they tell us something, we're like, the expert said. But what if the basic information that the expert is studying isn't actually complete? And that's the huge problem that I see in this system right now. Apparently, our medical knowledge base, that basic, this is what we understand about the body and human health, doubles every 3.5 years. And they said that back in about 2010. What that means is that when you graduate, during the time you were studying, how many doubles did it do? Especially if you talk about medical, you were studying for 12 years. That information that you were set to study was already written and in the curriculum. And then all that time they're learning new information. How long does it take before the information they learn gets into what is being taught? It's important for us to understand that things change rapidly. So the information that our graduates are having, and they go through med school, and they go through their residency, and all that information is still being added to, it's still being improved upon, it's still being, so basically what you know, experts, they cannot have complete knowledge in their field because research is constantly presenting new developments. Things are constantly changing. It's just the way, we're too smart for any expert to know everything because things are constantly being found out and things are constantly being changed. There are limitations to what we can do with general medical knowledge. That's the other thing that I need us all to think about. Why are there limitations? Because it isn't possible for any professional to have a complete knowledge about the person in front of them, my specific circumstances, my lifestyle, like, how did I grow up living, eating, sleeping, what chemicals came in contact with me, my complete medical history. And even if I want to tell the professional everything, it's not possible, right? First of all, am I going to remember that when I was a teenager, I fell and fractured this arm, when you're talking to me about maybe something to do with something unrelated to my arm? But even worse, if my parents have passed by the time that I'm in a medical scenario, do I know that as a baby I had this really horrible infection, blah, blah, blah? It's not possible for us to ever give our doctor all the information that they actually, or physiotherapist or nutritionist or whoever, all the information that they could possibly need. And if they don't have that information, and that information is actually important, it can hinder the diagnosis and therefore hinder the treatment. So we're not going to get the correct treatment that we might need because a piece of information was missing. And by the way, if I try to tell my professional every single thing medically that has ever happened to me, every single chemical that I ever came in contact with, if I tried to give my medical or treating physiotherapy, whoever it is, all the information, I wouldn't have the time in a session to give all that information. So even their ability to collect the information is blocked by the fact that we just don't have time to give all the information. So can any health professional know everything that they need to know to perfectly help us and say, do this, do that, this is the answer? That isn't possible. Wellness warrior, the best intentioned health professionals can still be missing information related to our specific situation. And that's why it's important for you to protect your health by being active in your health care. This is super important for us to take extremely seriously. And so, sorry, we need to take action. And the first set of actions I want you to take fall under this title of being prepared and communicating. The first set of actions are: be an active participant in your healthcare. I want you to go to your doctor's appointments, your physio appointments, your nutritionist appointments. I want you to go to any appointment that you have with someone who's talking about anything to do with your health with questions, your list of concerns, and any relevant information about your lifestyle, your medical history, and any changes that might have happened recently in your life. The doctor, the nurse, the dietitian, they don't know what to ask. They ask general things and they're trying to gather information. If I give them the benefit of the doubt, But at the same time, I know what's happened to me in the last little while. I know what symptoms I'm living. It's my job to present this properly. The second thing that I want you to do is advocate. Bring an advocate, actually. Bring an advocate with you. Maybe I'm nervous. Maybe I'm overwhelmed. Maybe I'm just scared of what the doctor is going to say. Having somebody there beside me that I trust, so maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a family member, I trust you. I know that when I'm freaking out, you're going to be listening. That is so helpful, Wellness Warrior, because it makes sure that somebody is gathering the information. Write it down. Write it down. Whether you're writing it down or I would, if you have someone there with you, let them write it down so that you can look back on it and remember what was discussed and what conclusions were come to in each of the different scenarios that you were sitting in front of someone. And the third thing here is if for some reason you feel rushed, if for some reason you feel like something that you want to talk more about is being skipped over, jumped over, ask for more time, right? Like this is your life we're talking about. Because I think we sometimes forget that. We think, oh, I'm just sick. No, I'm not just sick. This just sick could be really, really important. This just sick could set the stage for the rest of my life. And if I don't understand what my professional just said to me, my expert, if I don't feel that I was given a clear enough understanding of why I'm supposed to do X, Y, ask for more time so you can ask for a follow-up appointment. So that if the doctor or professional can't give more time, and if you have no choice, Wellness Warrior, don't get up. Don't leave your seat until you have either the answer or confirmation that you're going to have a follow-up appointment that's not months away, that's close by, till you can finish understanding why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. If you don't have that, how are you going to sleep at night? How are you going to do the things that are going to help you to be healthy? So you might be leaving yourself, increasing your stress, and putting a more negative scenario on yourself. So worsening my health because now I'm scared of what I've been asked to do. The next set of actions fall in line with this information, right? I want you to utilize all the portals and online resources that we currently have. You know, we are in this age of being able to, as I'm doing right now with you, share information. Use it. If your doctors have places where you can go and collect your medical records, go and collect them and have them with you when you go to that next appointment so that you can print them out so you can highlight them and understand what's in there. Most of us don't understand these documents, but we should. This is my medical information. And if other people are sitting around me talking about this information, but I don't even understand what this information means, when it's time for me to take a decision, I'm once again taking that decision based on you and what you're telling me. And I'm not really having input if I don't even understand what we're discussing. So we should be talking about my test results. We should be going through all the medical tests that we did do and why. I need to understand it. And then the next thing, point number 5, is that you should research your own condition and treatment options. And I know people are going to be like, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, Dr. Google. You're researching. You're not going in there telling the doctor what to do. You're going back with things you found. Is this a thing? If it's not a thing, can you explain to me why it's not a thing? I was watching recently, Carrie from Homestead How was interviewing a couple, and the husband had a huge problem with his shoulder. And he wanted to talk to the doctor about stem cell research. And the doctor says, yes, here's a pamphlet. Pfizer has that. Good thing this guy had done his research to know that the stuff that is offered from the pharmaceutical companies isn't live. And so therefore he would have paid a lot of money and suffered pain to have a procedure done that wouldn't work when they needed to take the stem cells from him and then give them back to him. This is information that he was able to find by doing some research. You know, Maria, that interview that I want you to watch from yesterday, ended up healing her body by taking a course about nutrition from someone who actually knew what they were talking about. We need to yell and scream from the tops of trees about what we're finding so that the doctor pauses and says, hey, I'll take a look at that. I'll look into it, right? Because what Maria did completely changed her life, and it didn't even require a doctor to endorse it. But then she told the doctors, and then they were able to have more intelligent conversations about what was happening, why it was happening. And so, anyways, that video is linked below. I want you guys to understand that when you empower yourself by learning as much as you possibly can about your condition and all the possible, not all, but the available treatments to you, you can then talk to your doctor about what they're proposing, about what might be less invasive, what might be less expensive, and make the best decision for your own care. Next action step. Yeah. When you're advocating for yourself, if I feel unheard, if I feel dismissed, I need to politely but firmly express my concern to my doctor. And I need to request more investigation. I think that we're afraid to question our doctors. I think that we're afraid to say, I'm not taking medication until it's the last resort within reason. Within reason. If not taking medication equals a week from now, a month from now, my scenario is worse and I'm unable to function, yeah, medication. Help me understand why that's my scenario right now. Too often, I see people be put in situations where they're told, take this medication just in case you might develop XYZ. And that I don't understand, because taking a medication for just in case I might develop something doesn't talk about the fact that the medication is doing something right now, something that's likely not helpful to my body because the thing that it's for didn't happen yet. Be willing to advocate for yourself. Be willing to push back. Be willing to say, I'm not comfortable with that. And keep detailed records of the interactions you have with your doctor. So yes, document everything. The dates of your appointments, the symptoms you discuss, the diagnoses that were given, and any concerns you have about the way that, so the tests that were done or not done, and the diagnoses that you received based on the tests that were or were not done. Because this record is going to assist you later on, trust me, because you're going to go inevitably to another professional, because our system is divided, where one medical professional will talk about your heart, another medical professional will talk about your lungs, another one is going to talk about your skin, another one is going to talk about your brain. All of them are able to provide you with medication. These medications will affect your entire system. You have side effects. You don't feel good. You're gaining weight. You're inflamed, which causes weight gain. You're not sleeping. All kinds of things are happening. And nobody is realizing that every single medication has an impact. You will need this information. So please keep track of it. Don't just believe that you're going to have access to what the doctor's writing down, because usually we don't. I want you to provide feedback. That's the other thing here. Many people walk away from their doctors, so they fire them without letting them know why. If you don't tell your doctor that you didn't have a positive experience, that you didn't appreciate their negative, toxic bedside manner, if you don't let your health providers understand, and it's not just doctors, it's nutritionists, it's all the providers that we are in front of, if you don't let them understand that you didn't get the service that was helpful to you, there's not even a chance that they ever look at what they're doing. Right? And you don't have to do it in front of their face. You can do it online if you're worried about that. You can give a review, but we need to give feedback to the professionals that we're working with. Because if we don't give them feedback, this just keeps happening not only to us, but to other people. And so now we go to this other thing, which is that you can seek alternatives. First of all, second opinions, third opinions, fourth opinions. Be sure about what you're doing, especially if it's committing long-term to medication, especially if it's doing a surgery. Be sure about what you're about to embark on. Again, you don't always have time to do 4 second opinions, because maybe week to week, the change is so dramatic, you need to act now. But Wellness Warrior, this is your health. This is your body. Incisions matter. Taking in medications matter. If you're unsure about the diagnosis or the treatment plan, consult a qualified person, a healthcare professional, to help you understand it properly. And if you need to, again, consider switching doctors. If you're consistently feeling unsatisfied with your doctor's approach, then you need to explore options for healthcare providers that their approach somewhat matches what you. I'm not saying that your doctor should be saying, no problem, try every other solution, when a week from now, this medication would save your life. But your doctor should be able to help you understand why taking the medication is needed right now. And it should be talking about right now. Because if we don't need it right now, why am I taking it right now? That distinction should be clear, Wellness Warrior. Because if it's not clear, I want you to pause on that. So being an active participant in your healthcare is so important, because you need to seek the care that meets your needs. We are personalities, and those personalities are going to resonate with some things and not with others, first of all. But we also have lived so much life and have been in contact with substances that we're hooked to. We're in contact with situations that cause us to either frustratingly feel sicker and sicker and inflamed and hurt and not able to accomplish the goals you want to accomplish. It's possible that if you're working with a professional who just doesn't get what's happening with you, isn't seeing that you're chasing foods, isn't even asking about your drinking habits and whether you're stressed at work and all the things that cause our body to be harmed, cause our body to be inflamed, then they are not necessarily pointing you in the direction that's going to help your body to heal. Because what we want is for our body to heal. It isn't just about taking medication forever if what we have is something that can heal. Again, Maria's story got me realizing that if somebody could have a stroke and have the damage that Maria had and be in front of me yesterday, looking the way she was looking and talking about the activities that she was talking about, those people with strokes are not told that their life is just going to turn around like that. People who have suffered major health trauma are often left to just, yeah, you finish living your life in a situation where you're not able to live life for real. And that's where Maria was 5 years ago, before she found the health and nutrition program that she found that absolutely changed everything for her. We can actually heal our bodies, Wellness Warrior. We can actually change everything. So check out Maria's video if you missed it yesterday. It was a good one. And for everybody else, the video on the screen at the end is going to be the video for you to help you to get your health back on track. So I'll link this video on this end screen to get you on track. I want to know, Wellness Warrior, what do you have to say about what I had to say today? What are your thoughts? I would love to answer your questions. Hello, Gradual Legends. I'm glad you're able to be here today. Thank you, Laura. I'm glad you enjoyed the video yesterday. Hello, Ian. I'm glad you're able to make it. I would love to answer some questions, everyone. So if you have a question or two, let me know. So, hello, Sing It. It's a practice. Time goes by, and the sicker people are getting. Doctors can't keep up with the volume of sick people. So we're diagnosed, treat with meds, accurate or not, next, new research. Okay, I didn't actually say this during the presentation, but here's something else to think about. There's absolutely good research out there where people are trying to understand how the body works and trying to understand how they can help people to be healthy. The unfortunate reality is that our sick care system focuses much more on the how can we change this currently existing drug enough that we can get a new patent on it, because the currently existing drug is now widely available and can be made really cheap, and we're not going to make enough money. A lot of research goes there. And then a lot of research also goes to food companies who are able to pay for us to be tricked into eating more. So how can we make this food taste better so that when people eat it, they just can't stop eating it and they just go down the rabbit hole of eating it. Wellness Warrior, it really is up to us. If we want to understand what our doctors should be looking at, no, that's not what I want to say. It's up to us. If we want our doctors to even have a chance to look at what's going to help our personal health problem, we need to understand that that doctor that you're talking about, Sing It, that has how many patients? Is it thousands likely? Doesn't have time to go and research every single patient's issue. Likely the doctor might be up to date on the issues that the patients bring the most. Maybe they're up to date on diabetes. Maybe they're up to date on, right? Like, that's, I think, quite reasonable to expect. But when we're talking about that, I come in with my obscure thalassemia, first of all. And now, so I'm expecting my doctor to keep in mind Violet's thalassemia. How does that link to maybe the diabetes that I'm coming up with, or maybe the 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 whatever chemical that you're seeing in my urine or whatever. Like, we need to understand that every time we sit in front of a doctor with our special combination of medical problems, they might not actively have every one of those special medical problems in front of them. How do I know this? How often do I need to remind my doctor, yeah, and my thalassemia? How does that play a role? And then I get the, oh, yeah, wait a minute, let me double check. Right. And if I'm in front of a doctor who didn't even bother to look at my chart because you're new and didn't even bother to check the first time you're seeing me, that should be top of mind. And you're like, you have what? And you have to go searching for it even to find it. So we need to understand that it really will be up to us to remind of our particularities. And also, if there is something that might be helpful to us that our doctor, for just lack of time, might not have found yet, even if they are a good doctor who is checking, who is wanting us to, right? Please check. Yes, Laura, I do absolutely agree. PubMed online is a good resource of medical information, studies, and doctors. So I mean, I think that even doctors who would scroll through this might see things that catch their attention that are related to some of the issues that their their clients are living, and nutritionists and all the health professionals, psychologists, like all the health chiropractors, they all should be scrolling through there and looking for things related to their field, first of all, but also just related to things that come up often in office, even if it's not the thing that you're focusing on. Might there be information that you need to have that will help you understand the client better? Because that's what we're really looking for, that you understand the client better. And if I understand my client better, the chances that I will be able to give them better help across the board, right? Okay, we need a new doctor. It's frightening. Okay, when we rush the bad doctor, accuracy diminishes. Husband was told men don't have fibromyalgia. I sent him an article about men with it. Self advocate. Wow, your husband was told that men can't have fibromyalgia. Now, I understand if a regular person thought that, oh, this is only for women, this is only for men on any particular topic. But doctors should know that difference. And if I'm not sure, check. So yeah, that is very frustrating. And then to the fact that, of course, because now the doctor doesn't believe that your husband could possibly have fibromyalgia, that's not a man thing, then he doesn't even listen to the symptoms slash issues that your husband is presenting through the lens of fibromyalgia. So now he might look at that from a different lens and, of course, find the medication that fits the idea that he has. This is why it's so important for us to be clear on what my symptoms are, when my symptoms started, are they related to any medication? Let me tell you that story. When I was younger, and I believe even pre 20s, but maybe 20s, I was given iron pills because I'm anemic, thalassemia, but they don't know that yet. So I'm given iron pills. And I start taking the iron pills. And I believe I was under 20 because I remember being at an age where my parents still had quite a bit of say on what I was doing. So I'm taking these iron pills. I'm not feeling good, right? Like, sincerely, I would say day 2, I'm not feeling good. And of course, my mom, having taken medication before, says, yes, it's normal. You got to get used to it. Da, 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 da. Okay. So listen to my mom. I keep taking the medication. It's getting worse. Like, by day 4, I'm feeling nauseous. I'm feeling I'm feeling horrible. And I remember that things started to taste wrong. And I was like, yeah, no. I started taking the medication without my mom knowing because I told her that. She's like, yeah, there's adaptations and you have to get used to it. And I was like, I don't want to get used to this, especially since I was feeling fine before I started taking you're taking my blood and telling me you're anemic, you need medication. Was I tired? No. Was I having any other symptom besides the fact that my blood was showing anemia? None. I start taking the medication. Do I feel exhausted and nauseous and food doesn't taste right anymore and I feel horrible? Yes. But somehow I'm supposed to keep taking this medication. So I stopped taking the medication. Eventually, we get back in front of the doctor and I admit, no, I'm not taking the medication. I tell the doctor I was feeling ill. Oh, you just need to get used to it. This is the cycle that I was, but I didn't. I never took it again. Iron pills, never again. So, knowing though that iron pills made me feel like that when I got pregnant, and I saw the medication that you're supposed to take, and there's iron in there, I said to my doctor, so those vitamins, those prenatal vitamins, I said to my doctor, I, I can't take this. There's iron in there. Whenever I take iron, I feel horrendous. It's horrible. I'm so sick. For my doctor to go, really? That's weird. And that doctor did some blood tests, and that doctor allowed me to know that I have thalassemia. First doctor thought I wasn't eating enough red meat, by the way. That was the first idea was get her to eat more red meat. She needs to eat more red meat. Guess what happened when I ate more red meat as a child, by the way? As a youngster, I wasn't a child. I was in my late teens, early 20s. I was less than 20, but like late teens. Guess what happened when I ate more red meat? Oh my gosh, sick, 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 sick. But being the good parents that my parents are, we had so much steak and roast and this and oh my god, and how like I just like I would eat it, and like that meal though, it wasn't like we were eating that every single day, so thank goodness, but we did increase on the amount of steaks and roast that we were having, and at least twice a week we were having steaks and roasts, at least twice. Sometimes you would have it like 3 to 4 times, and the next day I always felt horrible. They need to ask more questions, wellness warrior. They need to verify. Not every situation has that one answer. And if I'm so happy for the doctor that did find it odd and say, hey, let's check into that. But what if they hadn't? Right? What if that doctor hadn't checked into that? I'd probably still today be trying to eat red meat and do all these things. And by the way, I don't know if I might at some point retry red meat now that my body is changing. And I still wonder if it was my poor health. But apparently thalassemia is just a thing. But I always wonder, like, did that get turned on somehow because of the garbage that I was eating? And like, if my blood would have been checked when I was a small child, would it have been normal? It's a question in my head. Hello, Chris. Great topic today. I've been suffering with ulcerative colitis for my many years, but since starting keto and now carnivore, the symptoms have significantly reduced. Chris, thank you for sharing that. First of all, I did an interview with Lee Corpus from Kent Carnivore. He unfortunately already had surgery before he found keto and carnivore, or carnivore specifically, but regardless, he already had the surgery. So unfortunately, there was no correcting for him in that sense of like getting your digestive tract to work properly. But his health is still improved because he was still suffering, even though he had had the surgery. So just the ability to eat food and have it digest properly and live your life after that point, so insignificant. So I'm very thankful for you for sharing that. And you have more to say. Um, it is due to a change in my medication or changes in my lifestyle, eating and healing my body and inflammation. I have some testing to do. So if you're still taking medication, I would definitely be talking to your doctor about it. And the question is, do you even still need the medication? One of the problems, so I'll just throw this out there for you to think about, Chris. One of the problems that I have with the medication, or one of the medications, I know there's more than one medication for all these things. One of the medications for ulcerative colitis, and I don't remember the name of it because I don't actually have um, this issue, but when you have it, I was talking to someone who had it and they told me the name of the medication. And so you know how I am. I grab or maybe you don't know if you're new here. Hi, I'm Violet. And this is the kind of thing I do. I grab my cell phone and I put the medication in, and I did two things. I looked up side effects and I looked up ingredients. And would you believe that the medication this person was taking was mostly sugar? So it's like it was a sugar base and then some medication in it. So my stomach is inflamed, so much so that I'm running to the bathroom every few moments. And then I'm taking a medication where the first ingredient is glucose. And then there's other things in there that were starch and whatever. There was other point. There wasn't, but it was a base of, like, not glucose. Oh, I'm saying the wrong word, but it meant sugar. It wasn't glucose. It was, but it like when I looked it up, I'm like, what is that? It was sugar. So like basically the base of it was, anyways, my point is I'm running to the bathroom all the time, and this is what they're giving me. So, and a lot of times the gel medications that we get, so when they're like the gel, like when they're gel coated, that coating is being made from plant oils, seed oils. Again, I'm inflamed and you're giving me something that's inflammatory. So it's frustrating because I feel like, especially people who are having bowel issues, we don't even realize how our body is being harmed, even by the thing that's supposed to be helping me. And I will say that the person that I was having this chat with, a combination of eating carnivore, sorry, not carnivore, a combination of eating keto, and then the other thing that they did was, take the medication as limited as possible. That helped them, but that's that person's story. I would encourage you to talk to your doctor about it and let them know that you've changed the way you're eating. Now, is your doctor on board with your changes? That's a whole other conversation. But if you're going to diminish medication, it depends also, is this a medication that you take as needed, or is it a medication that you have to take consistently? Luckily for the person I was talking to, it was a medication they took as needed. So changing the diet allowed them to see that they just didn't need it as often and eventually didn't need it at all. But that was also them dialing in the diet and really eating. I can't remember how low they had gone, but it was much less than 20. I think they were under like 15 or something. So that's all I can offer you, is that she had a lot of success that way. Hello, Sing It. And as has been said before, the goal is to manage sickness with lucrative drugs, not cure. So self advocacy is key. Yeah, this is really, I think, one of the hardest things. Again, talking about Maria's story, is that is how much wasted time she lived, where she wasn't getting the assistance that she needed when she could have been getting the assistance that she needed. Right? So outside of her family doing everything they could think of to help her, medical was so slow to start acting. And why that bothers me is, especially when you're talking about the brain, but in general for the body, one thing that we can pay attention to, if you've ever had a broken arm or a broken leg, how quickly your muscles atrophy. And the question is why? Well, if I cannot use my arm, so it's in a cast, I cannot use it, my body allowing resources to go here, besides salt, besides healing it, but to muscles, allowing resources to go to muscles when I could be using those resources in my other muscles doesn't make any sense. And I feel like this is what we don't understand. Our body is too smart to waste resources. So if I have a problem like a stroke, my body is going to put all its resources into whatever it can for solutions. But if I'm not getting anything to help me, so in this case, movement, right? You need to move me in order for my body to learn how to move. When you think about a baby that's born, if you just leave that baby lay there, which is the unfortunate story that some people have lived as babies when they were neglected, how delayed is the child? Because you need movement for your brain to understand movement. So if I'm laying in that bed and I'm not moving, my brain is going to have a hard time to give me back what it's trying to give me back. And if you watch the video, you actually see how did she actually start progressing. I'm not going to spoil it. It wasn't the hospital. Something else happened that got her moving, and then she started to get help. So it just helps you to understand that if her family wasn't there pushing and making stuff happen, she'd still be stuck, Wellness Warrior, trapped in her own body. That is so hard. I tell you, if you couldn't tell by the way I was reacting in that video, and I was angry for hours after that video. I was angry because it bothers me that if this happened to her, and thank goodness her family had the resources, the time, and the inclination to push for her. But what if you don't have family who can take time off work and be by your side 24/7? What happens to you? I was so angry. I'm still angry. I'm still angry about that. I watched the video. This video took so long to edit because I couldn't make it through it. I couldn't make it. I was trying to edit and then I'd have to get up and walk away. I couldn't make it through it. It just bothers me that much. Yeah. It's linked below. But we need to advocate for ourselves. We need people to advocate for us. We need to advocate for those who don't even need that they know that they need advocating for, which is why I like the idea of not only telling the doctor when you're firing him, this is why I'm firing you, but then doing the review so other people know to avoid that doctor until that doctor pulls his act together. Bedside manner is something that they actually teach you. Why are we not using it when we become experts and professionals? Sorry, a bit ranty there today, but your iron experience, bingo. Wrong diagnosis, prescription filled, more damage. Exactly. More damage. And more damage. Like even right now, I wonder, would my knee issues and back issues and all that inflammation I was living, would it have been more delayed? Would that have been a good thing? Would that have been a bad thing? I don't know. Maybe if I would have had my hip problem. So there's a part of me that's like, thank goodness that I was given that medication younger, because, and this is the only reason, because I've thought about this. I do think that all those silly things that caused me discomfort earlier on pushed my body in the wrong direction, right? Because even though I didn't keep taking the iron pills, I was still being force fed beef until I was able in my 20, I would say probably like 22. I was just like, yeah, I'm not eating that anymore. I for sure know I was past 20 because again, I'm a respectful person, and my parents say, "This is what's for supper." Okay, that's what's for supper. I'm that person. I'm not going to stand there in the kitchen while everybody else is eating that and cook something else. Or at least I wouldn't do that until much later when I really did click in that I eat that stuff and I don't feel well. And then I don't even know how it happened that I went a few weeks without eating it and realized I feel better. And I also realized that I had a menstrual cycle that wasn't painful and cramping and I'm on the floor and whatever. And then the next time, so the next month when I had gone back to I had a hamburger or something that was made, of course, the fun junky thing. I had a hamburger and I felt sick again. And it was like, wait a minute. Could that be the problem? And I just stopped eating it and was feeling better and was like, wow, I think that was part of the problem or was the problem. I did not know at that point yet that I had thalassemia. That came much later. But all that to say, I think the problems that my body already had from the garbage, maybe, but maybe I just had thalassemia and that's just a thing that I will never get rid of, which makes me feel sad, but whatever. And then the added problems of garbage, and then the added problems of high intake of iron that my body was not managing well led me to have my hip problem at 46. That I'm thankful for. Why? At 46 years old, there was no way I was accepting, oh, my hip is gone. 46? No, no, no. My brain was doing flips and breaking, and it was just like, this cannot be a thing. Cannot. And so I went into the research mode. I started to look for solutions. And eventually I found sugar causes inflammation. And I found that after I figured out that it was an inflammation problem. So interestingly enough, believing it could have been arthritis didn't click in my brain that arthritis is an inflammation problem. Again, because when you label something with a term, you have arthritis. I'm not thinking general. Arthritis is an inflammation problem. That link wasn't made to me, and I didn't get it. Right? The same way that most people don't see IBS or ulcerative colitis or all these gut issues as inflammation problems. But that's what's happening. Your gut is inflamed and eventually you get ulcers and you get all kinds of other problems because your gut has been inflamed for how long? So me finding out at 46, I have a hip problem that's inflammation, that potentially arthritic hip, potentially, that the professionals were saying nothing to be done now. It's not bad enough. You're able to stand, you're able to walk around. It's not bad enough. Not bad enough. So what was my solution that was offered to me? Nothing. Oh, no, that's not true. Pain medication. So what I haven't shared with you is all the other different times that I've had falls or scrapes or whatever as a kid growing up, and headaches and all kinds of things, and being given medication, so pain medication, and having huge reactions, whether it's stomach reactions or whether it's other reactions of feeling nauseous, or the headache just not getting better, sometimes the headache getting worse. So them offering me pain medication was like, yeah, no, no, that I didn't even care to know what kind of pain medication. Every pain medication I'd ever tried to this point made me feel horrible. I'm already feeling bad. My hip's hurting. If that same problem of my hip hurting had happened when I was 86, 76 even, I probably would have thought, oh yeah, I'm old now. My hip's hurting. That's normal. But I was 46. I say this often, Wellness Warrior. I'm so happy that the symptom that I get from eating garbage is pain. Pain. I don't want there to be damage that's big enough that it just stops me cold track, like what happened with Pat, right? Where he had to go to the hospital. But the pain, I'm okay with. Why? Because I can manage pain long enough to figure out what I'm going to do next. Right? I was able to find the solution. Oh, This is an inflammation problem. Oh, sugar causes inflammation. I eat a heck of a lot of sugar. Apparently, I didn't know that. I mean, I knew I ate a lot of sugar in the sense of chocolate bars. Like that, I did know. I thought, oh, throw the chocolate bars away and my hip is going to stop hurting me, until I read a little deeper to how much I need to get the sugar down to. And I was just like, wait a minute, that can't just be chocolate bars. And then I realized that it was also the fruit. I didn't eat fruit, so I wasn't worried about that. I didn't eat much vegetables. I wasn't worried about that. I'm like, where the heck is the sugar coming from? Oh, the rice. Oh, the pasta. Oh no, all the processed fast food. So when I say processed fast food, which is like frozen pizza, frozen this, frozen that, and then also the fast food, hamburger bun, french fries, pizza. Oh no, the food I'm eating is where the sugar was coming from. I'm happy, wellness warrior. I'm still happy. Even with all of that, I'm still happy that what I get is pain, because I don't think I would have figured that out at 86. I think I would have just thought, this is what it is. And any other negative that was coming towards me, whether it would be diabetes, whether it would be Alzheimer's, whether it would be Parkinson's, whether it would be multiple sclerosis, whatever other thing that would have come towards me would have come towards me. And I would have just thought, well, I'm old now. This is how it's supposed to be. But that's the lie, because it's not supposed to be like this. So thank goodness I get pain. Laura. Funny story. My elderly mom developed gout. Doctor said it was a mystery as to why she had it now and wanted to know what new meds she was taking. It was a diuretic. So this is the important thing of what changed, what's new, right? So her doctor didn't prescribe the diuretic. And so whoever prescribed it, right? And so what happens if so for, there's so many layers to this, Laura, because if I'm if I'm urinating more, of course, I'm going to get rid of the inflammation that's in me. Um Gout is caused by, I believe, uric acid crystals that are in your joints. Those crystals are in your joints. I understand it to be because uric acid is like some kind of antioxidant, it's helpful. But of course, when they're crystals and our joints are touching and rubbing, that hurts. And so then we end up being inflamed at the same time. But at the same time, we're supposed to be inflamed when uric acid is out of sight, because it's trying to heal you. But this is one of those things where, but what's causing the gout in the first place? If I was guessing and it was my foot, which I can guess because I had gout and it's not there anymore. Well, what happened was I stopped eating carbohydrates. And not only, can I just point out something? Well, sorry. Not only is the gout not there anymore, my foot shape is going back to normal. So that bulge that was there, it's actually going back to normal. A lot of people don't even realize that your body can heal even that. So all these misformed, calcified things can actually change. I have two different spots on my body, my foot, my gout, and one of my ribs, that I feel the difference in how the shape of my bones are, especially the one in my rib, because I can actually palpate it. And it was huge before. First of all, it was humongous. It's not it's much, 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 much smaller, and it's my shape is getting back to normal. So again, we think that there are things that we're going to have forever that we don't actually need to have forever, unless we don't know how to fix it, right? Unless we don't know that it's the food we're eating that's causing the problem in the first place. Unless we don't know that medications do sometimes the things we want, but yeah, a lot of the time, actually almost Yeah. Is there ever a case where it's not doing a bunch of things that we don't want? Right. And Georgia confirmed my suspicion about that in our interview. Medications have a few things that you want, but a bunch of stuff you don't want. And there's no way to stop that from going to whatever part of your body that medication touches, because blood circulation, lymph circulation, right? We are constantly circulating things throughout our body. It's the natural way that our body works. Doctor said diuretic wasn't it. When I left his office, I looked gout up and noticed English sources blamed red meat, but Spanish sources cited diuretics. Laura, honestly, it's so frustrating because if you didn't do that research, well, I don't know even if your mom can get off the diuretic, because if she needs it for some other reason, again, we need our doctors to work with us. If they're not working with us, we often end up stuck, because if I'm taking the diuretic for a very specific reason and it's doing the thing it's supposed to do, so right now it's doing the thing, do I dare risk stop to take the diuretic and live the problem? And I that makes me nervous, right? Our doctors need to work with us. Our doctors need to help us. Thank goodness you were able to read Spanish and figure out that yes, diuretics can cause that. So in translating for my mom, we discovered something contrary to what the doctor said, and she adjusted her dosage and gout flares diminished. Well, at least she was able to maybe just manage it by a dosage adjustment. But ultimately, can you even correct it altogether with changing our diet? And right, and again, you need your doctor on board with that. How do we do any of this when our doctors are so stubborn and not willing to even verify, rather than say no, it can't be that? If that's the only thing that mom changed, why not say, let me get back to you, I'm going to do some research and actually check it out, right? My question to you, Laura, was, did he have another medication to offer you when he said, nope, it can't be that, but here, take this for the gout? Or was it just, no, suffer with it, right? Mom, who's 80, how old did you say? Oh, you said elderly mom. So your mom who's elderly, who's probably already having trouble walking around, is just going to live with the gout and just walk around even less? When our body is not being used, it stops prioritizing that part of us. So if I stop walking around, my body has no reason to keep feeding the muscles in my legs. Why would it not let that energy go to my heart and my liver and my lungs and whatsoever? It is so important for us, Wellness Warrior, to understand that we should never stop moving, ever. So many people retire and their thing is sit on the couch and watch TV, lay in bed and watch TV, sit on the back patio and watch the people walk by, or the birds in the bird feeder or whatever. Go sit at the park and watch people walk by. Oh my goodness, please do not do that. If you retire and you spend most of your time sitting, you're telling your body that legs are no longer necessary. And yes, how many of those same people a year or two later can barely climb stairs? Why? Because you're telling your body, yeah, we don't need legs anymore. Put everything up here, right? And if I'm eating garbage on top of that, what am I being built with? It's so important for us to not make this mistake. Oh, and before I read this one, sorry, sing it, but I just want to say this. Thinking, if I stop reading, if I stop challenging my brain, then my brain has no more reason to keep the connections going to the stuff I know. Right? I'm not challenging myself. Like our brain needs to keep moving, keep functioning. The one good thing that I will say is that when you get that test for memory and whatever, what's the first thing they tell you? But I wish they would say this as soon as you retire. But what's the first thing they tell you? They say, oh, your memory, yeah, it's looking like, so do crossword puzzles, math puzzles, so like Sudoku, that kind of thing. Read, keep your brain active, they tell you. Don't just watch TV. TV is a passive activity. Your brain needs to be thinking. It needs to be pulling data from behind, like how to read words. It needs that. Why aren't we told that as soon as we retire? Hey, guy, gal, wellness warrior, you need to make sure that your brain stays active. You need to make sure that you're thinking about new things. Maybe take up a project, right? Some kind of something. We're not told that. As soon as we retire, that should be the first thing we're told. And speaking of wellness warriors, I want to thank these wellness warriors for supporting the channel and helping me to take time like this to make these kind of videos. So make live streams, to take time to make videos, to take time to research the videos that I'm making. Thank you, Wellness Warriors, for supporting me. If you'd like to be one of these people, there's a link in the description where you can contribute to channel. It just gives me more time to take off to make videos and research the videos I want to make. And the editing that I outsource, so it helps to pay for the editing, lots of stuff. So if you'd like to contribute, there's the way. And going back to our comments, the other thing that I want to get to Singit's question, which is your doctor keto friendly? I know you haven't been in a while. No need. My doctor is not keto friendly, but I haven't pushed keto. So all I said to my doctor was, I don't eat junk food anymore. And I only eat healthy vegetables, like really like the vegetables. So, and I named them. So at the time when I was eating vegetables, broccoli, like I named the vegetables. I eat broccoli, I eat avocado, I eat olives. I think I was still eating asparagus at the time. I was still having salad at the time. And well, I said salad because I know he'll assume there's other things in the salad. I was just talking about seriously romaine lettuce and some meat. But and the romaine lettuce was just a delivery system for the meat. But that's what I told him. So I did express that to my doctor. That's all I eat, and meat. And I, at the time of having that conversation with my doctor, I was still doing the large-ish amount. So it was just after the carnivore challenge that I did for myself, I believe. So when I brought those things back, like asparagus, broccoli, cauliflower, sorry, I forgot that one. When I brought those things back, although they didn't stay long, but I saw the doctor close to that, so they didn't stay long. So all that to say that I did not use the word keto because I had good experience to understand that wasn't going to give me anything. And the doctor was fine with it. Yeah, eat the vegetables. The idea, eat the vegetables that you like. Eat the vegetables that, And he wasn't even concerned that they were all white or green. Actually, now that I stop and think about it. But I was healthy at that moment. Like I was standing there looking fine. So there was nothing to talk about. And we didn't do blood tests. We didn't do blood tests for some reason. I don't even remember why we didn't do blood tests. Probably because I lost so much weight and I was looking fine. So no blood tests were ordered. I did blood tests at another point, but it wasn't with my doctor. It was just through the clinic. So that's the frustrating thing about health insurance. Actually, I need to do blood tests soon. I would like to do some follow-ups. Yeah, that's the frustrating thing about health insurance. Money-making business, co-pay visits built in, not solving the issue. Would love to never visit a doctor again. There used to be a thing where you went to the doctor because you had an issue. People didn't just automatically yearly go to the doctor. I remember, I believe it was my grandfather talking about that, like back when he was younger, it was as needed because the sick people needed the doctor. There's like the healthy people didn't need to be there. It's definitely changed towards everybody should go every year or blah blah blah. I do totally agree with going to the dentist every year, getting that cleaning, getting that, reset of your mouth. I definitely agree with that. My dentist every year is always super impressed with my teeth and um the fact that I'm not having issues progress. So because they used to be progressing and now they've stopped progressing. So I just am where I am with my teeth. My hope is that at some point they actually start healing. But unfortunately, I do have fillings. So I don't even know what that would look like. Like how would my teeth heal that? But I would definitely like to see that they get stronger and just stay how they are. So that's something I'm looking forward to. But every year I go and every year I get told the same thing. Perfect, great. This is looking good. And it looks like the last one is from Sing It. So if you want to say goodbye to each other and goodbye to me, it's probably going to be after this. Um, that's the way. Next doctor won't mention keto or carnivore. Yeah, I think it's important for your doctor to know that you don't eat junk food. I would definitely make sure that they understand that, like that you're coming from a household where you don't eat junk food and that you don't even eat sweet vegetables or fruit, like you stick to the healthy vegetables only. I would definitely want them to know that because the hope is, saying it, that if you are in front of a keto friendly doctor, they're going to click in and be like, oh, okay, you don't have to go into the detail and say I only eat these five, but or I don't eat any. But I would definitely at least let them understand that I only eat healthy vegetables when I eat them, and those are the vegetables that are low in sugar that don't taste sweet. That's what I would let my doctor know, and that I don't eat fruit. That's what if I were to change doctors, which likely is going to be the case because I think my doctor retired, so likely going to be the case when I do go to my next appointment, if I need to go to the next appointment. And I'm honestly going with back to the old school of I will go to the doctor when I need to. That's what I'm thinking right now because why? But I want everyone, like that's my thing. Do your thing. If you want to go every year and just have them be amazed at the fact that nothing's changing and that you're amazing and that your health is stable and that everything is good. Like honestly, I feel like every single person who's eating healthy, every single person who's putting their health first and gets their weight under control, that is the again, a healthy body regulates its weight. That's what happens, Wellness Warrior. This is not something strange. This is not something even new. A healthy body regulates its weight. It's what it's supposed to do. It just does it. And if we let our healthy body do what it's trying to do, we win. So I encourage you, eat the right foods. And the right foods being, so my definition of food, this is how I define it: meat, fish, poultry, eggs, maybe dairy if you can manage it a little bit, but meat, fish, poultry, eggs, that's food. And even eggs, if you can manage it. Some people don't do well on eggs. So you have to pay attention to your body. Everything else you're putting on your plate is for fun. You get to decide if you're putting that fun stuff there or not, right? If you put some veg, that's for fun. If you put some fruit, that's for fun. But when we put things on our plate for fun, we need to acknowledge it's having an impact on our health. That's all I want you to do. I want you to be conscious of what's the food on your plate, what's the not food on your plate that you're eating because it's entertaining, and then pay attention to how you feel the next day. If you feel fine, great, but keep in mind, I felt fine for 23 years and then my joints started hurting me. And then I felt for 23 years and then my hip gave out. And now I feel amazing. I don't just feel fine, I feel amazing. Everybody needs to take their decisions. That some of these things that we're talking about that are going to happen to you do not happen immediately. And because they're happening internally, we don't actually feel them. Most of us, if we're lucky, haven't had an operation. But for all the people who have, especially those operations, those cool ones they do now, where they just make a little slit and then they send the whatever it is in. So especially if you're having a heart something, what's important for every person to understand, your skin has receptors for pain. Your internals do not. By the time that you're feeling pain from your internals, that's your body screaming at you and giving you pain. Right? Because your internals, which is why that when we are closed up from an operation and when they do these kind of procedures, they only have to numb the site of entry. They're not numbing the entirety of you, the site of entry. When they close you up from an operation, the site hurts, but internally, it doesn't hurt. We don't have pain receptors internally. Why would we? We don't need them. So it's super important for us to understand that it's not because I don't feel anything happening inside that means that nothing is happening inside. We feel the result of the freak out that happens when, for example, blood cannot get to the heart. Then we feel it. We feel the pain of the freak out that happens when I cannot breathe. So now oxygen isn't getting anywhere, including my skin, including my, right? And we feel the pain of that. But the actual damage to my lungs or the kidneys or the whatever, we don't feel that. Super important for us to understand wellness warrior, because we don't understand it. We think that because I don't feel anything, that eating the whatever was fine. It did something. And I just want us to all understand that. SoCal friend, I'm so happy that you're here. Wellness Warriors, I make videos every single Monday at 11:20 Eastern. I want you to join me next week. We'll have a topic, probably be more in line with weight loss or something, or healthy eating. But I needed to touch this medical topic today, especially after watching the video live with you yesterday and reacting again. I said, you know what? I need to close this up with a positive. This is what you guys can do to get your health back. Rewatch the section on take actions that you can do, where there's actually 10 things that I went through there, 10 actions you can take to get your health back. And you can watch that section on repeat, Wellness Warrior. Drill it into your brain. These are the things, make notes on it, write it down. These are the things that I will do every single time I go to my doctor. And if I do that every single time, how will my health be better? Because it will be. Because the direction for you and the doctor hopefully will be similar, and hopefully towards health improvements rather than a medication treadmill, right? A roller coaster of medication that's with the ups and the downs and the ups and the downs of medication, because they work sometimes really well for short interventions. And they work sometimes really well, even those long interventions. However, the side effects, oh my goodness, when you're doing long interventions, well, sometimes even short interventions have side effects, because there are a lot of people that were given shots back in 19 and 20 that had side effects that have not gone away. So sometimes even a short intervention can have huge side effects. So it's important for you to really, really do what's best for healing. Healing first, medicate second. If you can heal it, heal it. If it can't be healed and you need to medicate it. But do your research, because a lot of things, Maria was told that there was no 100% for her to be found. She's still tracking improvements. In our conversation, she was still tracking improvements. Something had happened in May that she wrote on the list of a new improvement that she noticed. So it's not true that we can't get back. I'm frustrated, Wellness Warrior. So focus on health. With good health comes weight regulation, because a healthy body regulates its weight. You'll be at a good health. You'll have good health. You'll be at a good weight, and you get your life back. Running up and down the stairs, climbing for the first time ever in my life, like bouldering climbing for the first time in my life. Still doing tree-to-tree climbing, still riding my longboards and my scooters, and riding my bicycle, and I didn't rollerblade this summer. I might try to do it before the fall is over. But all these things that I do because I got my body back. I wouldn't be able to do that if my hip had failed. I wouldn't be able to do this. You can do it too. So next Monday, 11:20, come back. We'll have a new topic. I love talking to you guys. Ingrid, thank you for making it here. You can watch the replay. I will be answering comments after the fact. So I appreciate you joining, even if you're getting to at the end. Talk to you guys next Monday. Have a good day.